Todd Monken has faced plenty of criticism over the last week plus with the Ravens offense underperforming, but they did not underperform against the Bears in week 8. And Todd Monken, he exploded on that criticism. We talk about that and so much more coming up on Locked On Ravens.
You are Locked On Ravens, your daily Baltimore Ravens podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Ravens. Welcome into the show. I'm your host, Kevin Oestreicher of Ravens Wire, here with you on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks so much for being here on this Tuesday, making Locked On Ravens a part of your day and your first listen each and every single day. And thank you to all the everydayers, the first-time listeners, and if you're somewhere in the middle, thank you as well. We have 5 days a week plus more of daily Ravens coverage for you here, and we have a jam-packed episode today. As the Ravens play in just 2 days, they have a short turnaround. The Dolphins, they'll be traveling to Miami. And today we're going to be diving into Todd Monken exploding on the criticism that he has been receiving over the past week or so. We'll also dive into John Harbaugh revealing a new Keaton Mitchell role and new opportunities for Keaton. And then we'll dive into some Ravens updates, Lamar Jackson practice status, which is obviously very controversial at this point, but the injury report is out. We'll talk about what Harbaugh had to say about the other injury situations around the Ravens right now. I want to tell everybody that today's episode of Locked On Ravens is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Here with me today, it's a long time no see. We got from the Ravens Talk podcast and the Locked On Ravens Squad show. We had him on, obviously, over the course of the week on Thursdays. But, of course, since the Ravens play on Thursday, we got to have him on a little earlier this week. It is Sam Njoku. And, Sam, this Ravens team, I'm so happy that we can talk about them positively. I mean, that squad show that we did on Sunday, such a breath of fresh air from all the losing and the negativity. We finally got to say the Ravens won, and we're recording tonight here for Tuesday's episode. It's a Victory Monday, which we have not had a lot of this season for the Ravens.
Oh, man, I was so excited. We all were excited after that Ravens win. I mean, I just got tired of talking about the negativity. It felt good to talk positive about this Ravens team, and there are positives throughout this roster. It's good that they got it together and got the win, much-needed win heading into that Thursday matchup against the Dolphins.
Yeah, and I think we'll talk about the game, obviously, over the course of the show, but I think with what we saw from the team in general, from a team perspective, offense, defense, and special teams felt like a very complete win. And we'll talk about the offense here to start because we know, Sam, that Todd Monken has faced a heap of criticism over the last week, not just from fans, but from anonymous players, team sources, multiple reports coming out about Monken it being a hard person to work with and, the players not having confidence and, all this other stuff that was being said. And then Todd Monken put together the masterclass that he put together in week 8 against the Chicago Bears. He showed a lot of people with that performance that, hey, he said, I still have it. But after the game, multiple videos surfaced of Todd Monken just going crazy with the fans in a good way. Like, he was hyped up, he was pumped up, and he was exploding on the criticism. There was one video where he was shown walking up to a group, and he said, this is a family-friendly show. I can't say it word for word, but essentially he said, I've been taking a lot of flack, and then I don't even know how I can spin this because there are so many expletives in this sentence that Todd Monken said, but he essentially said that he is not, I don't even know what to say with this, but he was not happy with the criticism. You can tell because he has been taking a lot of flack, and he essentially said, screw those people. Let's go. And that's a nice way of putting what he had to say. So, look, he deserves to take every victory lap in the book for this one. I mean, again, it was weird in the first place, Sam, that Monken was the one getting all of this criticism, and there was nothing about John Harbaugh or Zach Orr. And look, I'm not saying that Todd Monken didn't or doesn't deserve any criticism. There are certain things that he can improve upon, but, leading into this game, which is when those reports came out, the offense was very far down the list, especially without Lamar Jackson, because we know what Lamar brings to the table. That was very far on the list on things that were problems, it felt like, for the organization. So Todd Monken feeling, I guess, a little vindicated here, as he absolutely should.
Oh, man, absolutely. And I'll try to paint it for you like this. Imagine being in a class of 30 people and you get an A on your test, and everyone else in the class gets C's and D's. And when the teacher comes in to talk about how disappointed she is on the grades of the class. She blames you, the one person on the team or in the classroom that got a great grade. So I 100% can feel the way he feels coming into that game and then putting the masterclass that he did without Superman. No Lamar Jackson. He gets Tyler Huntley, a guy who many didn't think would be the backup QB for the Ravens this year, and gets the win. So yeah, I absolutely feel him being excited about it. I don't agree with the criticism that he has received. He does deserve criticism. Everybody deserves criticism. I deserve criticism. Kevin, you deserve criticism. I get it, but the criticism that he was received felt almost unwarranted. Felt like people were deflecting blame to the guy who is the only reason why this team has been successful, in my opinion, more often than not, from an offensive coordinator standpoint. Best OC they've had in quite some time, I think, since Gary Kubiak. But to really go in and talk negative about Monken is another discussion for another day. But feel very good for Todd Monken for him to get that victory, and seeing him hype in those videos, which I did see, makes me even more excited.
Yeah, look, I'd be feeling some type of way too if that was how people within the organization or around the organization were talking about me. And again, so essentially, for those that didn't get it, again, I can't read the full thing. It was, quote, I've been getting a lot of awful flack. You can use a expletive in there. It's awful. And then screw, which was another expletive. Them, I guess people is what we'll say. So that's another expletive. Let's go. I mean, just expletive laden. But again, he deserves to kind of let off some steam with this whole situation based off of everything that was being said about him. And look, I think when people said, well, wait, who are these people he's talking about? Who are the people that he's upset or, talking about here in this thing? Is it the reports and the reporters that are, putting this stuff out there? Is it the sources within the team? Is it the anonymous players? Like, who are the coaches? Like, what are those people? We're never going to get, I think, clarification, but you said it's all of them, you think, Sam?
All of them.
Everybody?
Anybody gets Monken is an enemy, in my opinion. So very happy for Todd.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, look, offensively, to be able to get that, and again, Tyler Huntley himself pulled a rabbit out of a hat here with what he was able to do. But I think with Monken, his ability to read the game here, not get too caught up with any one thing, which is stuff he has done at times this season. I'm not saying he's been perfect again. Like you said, everybody deserves criticism when it's due. But you also saw him getting guys open. We saw motion pre-snap. I think getting Pat Ricard back and him being able to use Pat was really big for him. I mean, what did you see schematic-wise from this offense that you thought, okay, hey, this is better than what we've seen a little bit recently, especially with, again, what you mentioned, Lamar not being out there, who is your Superman?
I think Huntley deserves a lot of credit. I think Pat Ricard being in the game definitely helped a ton, establishing the run, not deviating away from the run, understanding when to run, when to pass. All of those things play huge for me. They didn't do anything schematically too much different than usual. They did have Voorhees and Falele out there, so not too much you can do to be too exotic, or else you suscept your running back and quarterback to needless pressure. So I think this Tyler Huntley, the way he managed the game is the big thing, and the way that Todd Monken called the plays, understanding what we were getting out of Huntley in that contest. It was just overall an example and a reminder of what the Ravens have with Todd Monken, and there's a reason why they hired him out of Georgia. He's been a phenomenal play caller. Of course, hasn't been perfect in the red zone. I mean, some of that may be the offensive line. Everybody thinks about those two tush pushes to no avail to be the main one, but there's other instances, the rollout to the right over and over again, that needs to change, and I'm sure the Ravens are working on it. But I mean, those are small samples in the overall big pie, which is the Todd Monken experience, and overall very positive. And this game is clearly another example.
Yeah, and I think at this point with Monken, he has shown the ability to adjust. Sometimes he over adjusts, and that obviously something that he's continued to work on, but even still, it does pop up at times. But his creativity is on display. And one of the things that I continue to go back to, Sam, was when Todd Monken first became the coordinator of this team. It just felt like such a coordinated effort between him, John Harbaugh, and Lamar Jackson, essentially handing over the keys to Lamar Jackson in this offense. And we have seen him continue to grow Lamar over the course of his years with Todd Monken. And, this injury here, it's always tough to win football games without Lamar Jackson. Not a lot of people believed in this team to win this football game without Lamar Jackson. I had to see it first. I had to say, look, prove it to me that you can do it offensively, defensively. And all of a sudden they did that. Todd Monken proved it to me. So, I mean, moving forward, what do you want them to take away from this game, especially with Lamar hopefully coming back on Thursday against the Dolphins? What do you want to see them take away from this game offensively, particularly for Todd Monken for the rest of the season.
Use your running back. Use Todd. Use Derrick Henry. Use Keaton Mitchell. Use Lamar Jackson. Use the running game to set up the pass. I know you have a dynamic quarterback and Lamar that can do it all. I know you got weapons galore. Everyone wants a target. D-Hop, one of the better receivers in this game, only had one catch, and it was a big one, but only one catch, so you would want him to get as many targets as possible. But forget them. You need victories. We don't need to stroke any more egos on this franchise. Plenty of egos to go around. So get the victory. Use the running game to do it, and I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, I just the vibes are great right now. The vibes offensively, you saw these guys, and the big thing was they were having fun, and that even the whole team, it just felt like, Sam, during their losing streak, every camera pan was to a dejected Raven or an injured Raven. It felt like these guys really were having fun out there again, which is when they're the most fun to watch. And I mean, even you saw if you were watching the game feed, and after Nate Wiggins' interception, Monken was screaming and trying to do the fist bump, but he couldn't quite get it. I mean, he was hype out there. I mean, Monken's a guy that, look, wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's very honest and accountable when talking to the media. I'm curious to hear what he has to say about I'm sure he'll be asked about it whenever he speaks this week on a short week about his situation. But anybody who continuously, goes through a situation like that where you're getting bashed multiple days in a week, you're going to have a lot to prove. And when you have a game like that where you put on a perfect performance, essentially, at least as close to perfect as you can get, you're going to want to flex on people and say, hey, you said that about me. Well, look at me now. Look at what I just did. So I'm happy for Todd. Like you said, he deserved to flex on them like he did. And coming up in the second part of the show, who else flexed was Keaton Mitchell with his limited opportunities, finally getting some chances. So coming up, John Harbaugh teased a new role for Keaton Mitchell. And I'll say this, it's about time. So be sure to stay tuned. Plenty coming your way here on Locked On Ravens.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance. You can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
Back on Locked On Ravens, Kevin Oestreicher and Sam Njoku still diving into the Ravens' big Week 8 win over the Chicago Bears. It's victory week here, although hopefully we'll get another victory week on Thursday as the Ravens travel to take on the Dolphins. We'll have you covered throughout the entire course of the week leading up to the game. And, of course, we'll have you covered during and after the game as well. We, of course, are 5 days a week plus more of daily Ravens coverage and content. We have the regular show Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. Eastern time, plus bonus episodes on the weekend when there are headlines. And obviously during games, we have pregame episodes. We have the Locked On Ravens watch-alongs. We have the instant reaction shows. And then the Locked On Ravens squad show with Sam and I. And then former Ravens receiver Kadri Ismail. And I'll tell you this, don't be drinking sugary drinks around Q. Sam, learn.
Still have the can.
No, hey.
It's full, though.
Okay, all right. As long as it's full. Q will get on
Not
you.
drinking.
Q will get on you because we know that Q is very into health, performance, and the whole 9 yards there. So be sure to check us out wherever you can in video form or audio form on Locked On Ravens. But Sam, you and I have talked about it for the entire season. The Ravens were doing themselves a disservice by not having Keaton Mitchell out there on that football field. He could have helped them offensively, given them a nice change of pace, and then took a little too long, in fact, a lot too long, to get him on the football field. But in week 8, he finally got some opportunities, and boy, did he deliver on those opportunities. He ended up only having 4 carries, but he had 43 yards on those carries, including a 25-yard burst up the sideline. He averaged 10.8 yards per attempt. And this is exactly what everybody has been saying. Everybody has seen it. Everybody has been calling for it. Everybody has known this has been what needs to happen, except for the Ravens. And that's obviously what matters. And the Ravens finally figured it out. John Harbaugh had some stuff to say about Keaton after the game, which we'll get to. But I mean, Sam, this comes as not a surprise at all to me. I'm sure not a surprise to you. I mean, Keaton showed why he's deserved to be out there since the jump this season.
He's good. He's a good football player. I dare say great. I mean, we saw the preseason game against the Colts where he looked phenomenal. He was the best player on the field that day. And, it's not like he was just coming off that ACL injury where we clearly saw that he was still get back to game speed. He's stronger. He's faster than was his rookie year. We all saw it. I don't know what the Ravens were thinking. I know they had a lot of mouths to feed for this team, a lot of roster spots to get through with the special teams. But when you have a player as dynamic as Keaton Mitchell, you find a way. Teams do it with Darren Sproles. They did it with Alvin Kamara. They did it with Reggie Bush. He is in that tier. Maybe not as talented as those guys, but certainly has the explosive that those other players have for offenses, especially an offense like this that is predicated on running the football. You have a running back that can be the Sonic to the clear hedgehog that Derrick Henry is. Get him on the football field, and good things happen.
Good things happen. Good things happen. And, after the game, John Harbaugh talked a little bit about Keaton and those opportunities. He said, quote, well, over the bye week, one of the many things we looked at was we said we have to tag plays for Keaton. We just said we have to do it. You want to make sure Derrick gets his reps and Justice is effective. But we just said we've got to tag plays for Keaton Mitchell and make sure we get him the ball. And that's what we were able to do. I think he had 3 plays where he got the ball. And, it was 4, but regardless. And then Harbaugh talked about it a little bit on Monday and was asked a question about how much of a statement did Keaton make with the readiness and with the faith he showed in him late in the game. And Harbaugh said, quote, I thought Keaton made a big statement. I just really did. It's great to see. He's been working hard and he got his chance. He proved to be ready for it. And the time was right. We just have to keep building on that going forward. So, looks like Keaton is going to be involved in this offense moving forward, if anything, because Harbaugh and the team made it a point to get him the touches during the bye week and also the statement that he made and what Harbaugh said on Monday. But the thing that just confuses me, and I know, Sam, we've had this conversation before, is like it wasn't like Keaton came into the preseason and really struggled during the preseason. You kind of wonder, okay, is he fully back yet? Does he need more time? He was one of their best players in the short action he played in the preseason. It's not like he did anything to not earn an opportunity. But I just think, again, what Harbaugh was saying and what Monken was saying of like, well, and what Harbaugh said, it was kind of redundant with the other guys on the skill set. And I was like, no, it's just literally not true. He gives you something else, but we know that the Ravens love their special teams. Rashod Ali, I know he's your guy, but he just doesn't bring as much as Keaton does to the table. And I would much rather lose what Ali brings you special teams wise for what you gain with Keaton out there offensively. 4 running backs is a lot of running backs. I'm not sure they keep it that way for the entirety of the season. I think Ali could be moved on from, but man, we were having trade conversations here on this show about like, oh, the reports of the Ravens could be trading Keaton Mitchell. Never should have happened in the first place. But now I think the Ravens have finally realized his value. Although again, it's a lot later than it should have been.
Yeah, and the reason why people were thinking about the Ravens should trade Keaton Mitchell is because if you're not using him, there's plenty of other teams that would love to have him. How many? 31 other teams would love to have Keaton Mitchell on your roster. So I didn't get the reason why they went ahead and did that. And, I'm a Rashod Ali guy when he was drafted, but I'm not an idiot. I mean, clearly Keaton Mitchell is the better running back. If we got to get rid of Rashod Ali or limit his snaps to get it done, get it done. Do it. Whatever it takes. You got to get Keaton Mitchell out there because what you're doing is you're giving this defense something else to think about. They're not really running between the tackles as much with Keaton Mitchell. They give him off tackle. Derrick Henry doesn't really look good moving laterally. They want to get him vertical. Something else for this defense to do to get them, prepared, ready, whatever you want to say for this team. Having Lamar Jackson and Keaton Mitchell on the field at the same time, 2 dynamic players, too good to pass up, and you're going to bench him? You're going to keep him on the bench, keep him on the sidelines? No, put this guy on the field, give him a helmet, and let him go to work. You saw it against the Bears, and hopefully we see it more moving forward.
I thought an interesting dynamic, Sam, was the fact that with the running back room, Derrick Henry got 21 carries in this game. Next was Keaton Mitchell. Justice Hill only got 1 carry in this game. And I'm wondering if that's a little bit of a shift into what we might see from this team coming out of the bye week. Obviously, Justice has played really good, sound football for them over the last couple of years, but it's been a little bit of a struggle for Justice this season. I think he's had a down year compared to what people have expected and come to know from Justice over the course of the last couple of seasons. And you can even talk about, in pass protection, that's been one of Justice Hill's prime calling cards. And against the Bears on Sunday, his pass grade was 20.5 on PFF, which is abysmal for those that don't know how to grade. It is very bad. So do you think that this might be a shift, Sam, in the way the running backs are going to be utilized here, where Derrick Henry is obviously still your bell cow, but then Keaton Mitchell may be overtaking Justice Hill as the number 2 running back?
Perhaps. Now, there is a reason why Justice Hill is on the field. Yes, he had a poor performance as a pass blocker against the Bears, but his utility, his special skill, his superpower is being the outlet guy for guys. You saw what it looked like when Derrick Henry went for a catch. He didn't look very good. He's not comfortable in that aspect. Even though we've seen him catch passes in the past, we know that Justice Hill is truly dangerous when he's that outlet guy, the guy that a quarterback can go to in a given situation, is what quarterbacks love. Darren Sproles made a living out of it. Reggie Bush, we talked about that. But yeah, Keaton Mitchell can be that guy. You got to get better at pass protection. I mean, that's the only thing keeping him off the football field, really. Is he better than Justice Hill in that regard? Even though the grade may say otherwise, I don't think so. I think Keaton Mitchell can still improve in that regard, but that's a knock you got to take at this point. I mean, the Ravens have 2 wins in 7 games under their belt. That is not enough. You need every advantage you can. So, yeah, there may be a shift. Someone's going to lose carries. It's certainly not going to be number 22. So I do expect Hill to lose some snaps and Keaton Mitchell to get some. That is the formula to success with this team. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, even if it's just a split between those guys, I'd be totally okay with that. Where
Same.
You have to find opportunities for Keaton. John Harbaugh made that very clear, and that seems to be teasing a role shift for Keaton. Plus, obviously, in the game, we saw that. He just helps you so much. And again, I guess it's crying over spilled milk at this point because he's playing now, but it took so long for them to do it for no reason whatsoever. But it does also, Sam, the offensive line is a big part of running the football. It's a big part of any offense. I've said it over and over again on the show. It all starts up front. Now, for the Ravens, their offensive line pass grades, Ronnie Stanley was the best on the team with an 84.6. And you have Linderbaum at 82.2. Ricard came back and put together a 74.1. And then you have others on the O-line, Falele 70.3. And then Roger Rosengarten 68.7. Andrew Voorhees at a 34.9, which... yeah, that's not what you want. I mean, what was your evaluation of the Ravens offensive line? Because, I thought for what they did, they opened up some rushing lanes, and I thought protected for Tyler Huntley pretty well. But there were also moments where you saw Daniel Falele falling over, missing blocks, and, Roger Rosengarten had some poor plays. Voorhees obviously was not great. I mean, the guard positions are the biggest question mark, but Falele and Voorhees are fighting right now for who's struggling the most on that line.
If you watched the Locked On Ravens Squad show prior to the game, I told you, if I saw Voorhees and Falele on the field against the Bears, I would lose it. And luckily there was not a camera in my living room because, boy, did I lose it. I don't get it. I don't know what the Ravens are thinking. I just don't understand. Are Bullock and Ben Cleveland and Emory Jones in limited action, I would say he just got out the NFI. Can they be that much worse than what we're seeing? Because we're seeing some truly awful play from the guard position, most notably Voorhees, who seems to ping pong between okay and downright awful. Falele kind of steady in his mediocrity, but at least his floor isn't as drastic as Voorhees in certain instances. They got to change something. Something has to be done. Is it going to change in time for the Dolphins game? Absolutely not. You'd think it would happen before the bye, but they get another mini bye after this Dolphins game because it's on a Thursday. They get some time to make some changes, maybe a trade or two, depending on the outcome of that contest. Regardless, this offensive line is not going to win you a championship. It's just not. I'm just going to be honest. That defensive front of the Bears is mediocre. You're going to face teams like the Bears, like the Steelers, with a formidable pass rush that can get after the quarterback. Lamar Jackson just got done nursing a hamstring injury, the likes of which probably cost you maybe money, maybe a draft pick because of the whole snafu with the injury report, whatever. The fact is this offensive line is not going to cut it moving forward. They did enough to get the job done. Kudos to them, but this is not a recipe for success in 2025.
Yeah, they need to fix it and quickly, but it's going to have to come probably internally unless they want to go out there and get a guy like Kevin Zeitler, which is not out of the realm of possibility. You can certainly do it, but, you're feeling the loss of Pat McCary, Sam. You and I have talked about that. So it you need to figure it out because you're going to go up against better units than the Bears. And while I, again, thought that the performance was impressive, something to build on for sure, you're going to have to continue building on that because while you're not going to see a ton of great teams over the next month or so, if you do come back, win this division, make the postseason, you're going to have to face a lot of other great ones. And coming up with the final part of the show, we'll talk about some Ravens updates and potentially a more likely than you think playoff scenario if the Ravens do actually make it to there. So be sure to stay tuned. A lot coming your way on Locked On Ravens. First, this show is brought to you by Rugiet. Let's be real, making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support, and that's where Rugiet comes in. Rugiet.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rugiet makes it easy to get started. Use connect with a board-certified doctor, 100% online, no awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments, and if prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. It's about confidence, connection, and getting back to moments that matter. Visit rugiet.com/lockedonnfl to get 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com/lockedonnfl. And don't forget to use our code LOCKEDONNFL so they know we sent you. Rugiet, stop making excuses and start making moves. And the show was brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. And for me, I'm a big Denver Nuggets guy, and obviously they're competing for a championship this year, hopefully. And over on FanDuel, the Nuggets right now are plus 650 to win the championship. That's tied with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and it's the second best odds behind the Oklahoma City Thunder, the defending champs, who are plus 210 to win the NBA Finals. So I like those numbers for the Nuggets, and I think that they have a really good shot to compete this year. Right now, FanDuel's giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Back here, Locked On Ravens, Kevin Oestreicher, Sam and Joker. We're still talking Ravens football with you here on this Tuesday edition of the show. The Ravens will gear up to face the Dolphins on Thursday Night Football. It's going to be a good game, hopefully, for the Ravens. The Dolphins did beat up on the Atlanta Falcons in week number 8, but that was with no Michael Penix, no Drake London. So hopefully with Lamar Jackson back, which is apparently expected to be the case, according to John Harbaugh, it will be a Ravens win. But like I said, John Harbaugh did say when asked about Lamar Jackson's injury status that he and the Ravens expect Lamar to be out there on Thursday night. He said, quote, "I feel very confident." Now, a lot of people noted the tone of his answer did not scream confidence, but I mean, it just kind of raises the question, Sam, about where the communication level is between the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. I mean, is this the Ravens saying, "Oh, hey, we expect him to be out there, but we don't know what Lamar's thinking"? Like, again, and this is not the first time that there has been a weird injury situation with Lamar. The last time this happened, John Harbaugh explicitly said Lamar would come back, and then he didn't, made Lamar look really bad, and then Lamar had to go out on Twitter and say, "Hey, this is actually what happened." So I don't know what the communication level is right now. I don't know what the situation is right now, other than Lamar Jackson was listed as a full participant in practice. And you got to kind of duck when you say that now because of what happened over the weekend. Was he with the scout team? Well, I hope not, because then they get in more trouble. But seemingly Lamar is back with the ones. He's practicing, and apparently everything's lining up for him to play on Thursday night.
Apparently, and I get why he didn't sound too confident when he said that, because one, he's in a lot of trouble with the National Football League. I know you try to downplay the upcoming investigation, but it's coming. And there are going to be heads rolling one way or another when it comes down to this. So I can see why he's a little bit hesitant, but all signs point to Lamar Jackson playing. I'm much more confident of him playing in this game based on what I'm hearing than I did against the Bears. So that's one good thing. But I will say an interesting point to what you said. I do have a snippet of this coming out tomorrow on my podcast in regards to the communication between the Ravens franchise and Lamar Jackson, because it's poor. I mean, there's just no other way to put it. I mean, the way these two are communicating with each other, it has been different, to say the least. And I said this on the podcast. I think there's going to be a very interesting documentary coming out when it's all said and done regarding what went down between the Ravens and Lamar Jackson throughout his tenure here in Baltimore, because he's an enigma. He's a guy who marches to the beat of his own drum. You know, the Ravens are very particular when it comes to the injury report. Well, not injury report, but just injuries in general. When a doctor clears you to play, the Ravens think you're good to go. You know, certain players don't necessarily agree with that. We've seen some tumultuousness with players like Tyus Bowser in the past in that regard. And Lamar Jackson is just a guy who will not play if he doesn't feel like he should go. And he's a larger-than-life figure. You know, he is the Ravens franchise. The Ravens haven't dealt with a quarterback of his stature ever. I mean, since Johnny Unitas, you know how long ago that was. And he wasn't a Raven. He was a Baltimore Colt. So that tells you what type of player and athlete Lamar Jackson is. But all in all, yeah, I don't think the communication between these two figures are very good. But they make it work. They've made it work for all these years. And it seems like, based on what I'm hearing, that Lamar Jackson will be a go.
That's what they need. And again, shout out to Tyler Huntley for what he's able to do out there. Very poised out there, cool, calm, and collected, put together a great performance. But we know this team is at its best when Lamar Jackson is out there on the football field. Now, other than Lamar, this was a walkthrough. This was an estimation, but there were a couple of other players who were limited. Teddy Buchanan with a calf injury, TJ Tampa with a shoulder, Nate Wiggins with a groin, and then Ronnie Stanley with that ankle injury. He was on the ground, writhing in pain. Luckily, was able to come back into the game. Would you expect any limitations for Ronnie in this game, Sam? It is a short week. He did get injured. We know he's been in and out with injuries over the course of this season. You know, we don't want Joe Noteboom in there. We know that. You and I have talked about that. Please, I mean, throw me out there instead. That's what our conversation was on a squad show. But Ronnie played really well against the Bears. He was a big part of what they did, and you have to be smart about it. But it, I guess, feels like he has a shot to play in this one, despite going down and coming back in week 8.
Yeah, and I mentioned this on the squad show as well, man. He looked like he was in a lot of pain after that injury. Luckily, he came back. Q mentioned maybe some Toradol or something that was injected to get him through that injury. Whatever the case, he was limited in action. They need him out there. He was such a boom for this team against the Bears on Sunday. I hope he's out there. I don't know if there's anybody that can replace him. He's probably the most important offensive lineman. In fact, I know he is the most important offensive lineman on that football team. They'll need him out there. I think he plays. I think they'll do enough to limit him. He won't get a lot of work this week. They'll get him ready for that Dolphins game. And whatever they did against the Bears, they'll probably do again against the Dolphins, get him ready. He should be good. But yeah, it's been a tough year for Ronnie Stanley with injuries, and he's been powering it through. Luckily, he was able to go this past game against the Bears and played very, very well. Expect more of the same for that on Thursday.
We talked a lot about the offense in the Bears game, kind of what we want to see moving forward with that group. But defensively, Sam, I thought this defense, we talked about it on the squad show, the blitzing, the effectiveness, guys running to the football, obviously forcing the turnover from Nate Wiggins there. It just felt like they were all playing with, their hair on fire in a good way. Like, felt like a lot of the calls from Zach Ward, they made sense, and a lot of things that we didn't see over the course of the first month plus of the season from that defense. The bye week seemed to shore a lot of that up. So what did you see? Like, what was your favorite thing you saw from that defensive unit? And again, I'll ask you the same question about the offense that I'll do here for the defense. What do you want them to carry over for the rest of the season, particularly on Thursday night?
They're very comfortable with that big nickel look. They're very comfortable with having 3 safeties out there. That means guys like Jaire Alexander aren't going to see the field. Chidobe Awuzie, TJ Tampa, they're all going to be limited snaps because of it. But it's for the betterment of this team until they get a decent pass rusher that they can count on to get after the quarterback consistently. But right now, they're doing very good. Alohi Gilman looks very good out there. He did have that egregious missed tackle in that game. But other than that, he's been solid for the team, especially considering he's only been here for 2 games. I mean, that's really good. And Malaki Starks is benefiting from that change and everything. It just looks like a well-oiled machine. They just seem to be a pass rusher away from truly being dominant. Right now, they're counting on Zachary Orr to generate blitzing through play calling and what have you. They're generating pressure with Kyle Hamilton a lot more than maybe they would want to. Whatever it takes to get the dub, that's what they're doing. But I'm very impressed with how they've used the big nickel and actually had success, as opposed to earlier in the season last year in 2024, where they used the big nickel with guys like Eddie Jackson and Marcus Williams, and they struggled mightily.
No AFC North team has ever won the division 3 years in a row. The Ravens looking to do that this season. There's still an opportunity. And think about this, Sam. There's a scenario where the Ravens win the division, and then the Patriots win the East, the Bills get the 5 seed, and the Bills come to Baltimore to play the Ravens during wild card weekend. How do you like them apples? That's something that could happen. So this team, they have a lot of work to do, but they started off on a big way in week 8 against the Bears. But Sam, I appreciate you. Thanks so much for hopping on. Before I get you out of here, tell people where they can find you and what you're working on.
Find me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Ravens Talk Podcast, talking Ravens football. Show coming up tomorrow. A little snippet on the whole Ravens Lamar Jackson saga and what's going on as they prepare for the Miami Dolphins. So stay tuned for that. You can find that on YouTube at Ravens Talk Podcast. And we're talking football all the time, baby. So make sure you reach out, message me. I'll be sure to answer to get ready to talk some football.
All right. Well, there he is, Sam and Joker, Ravens Talk Podcast, Locked On Ravens Squad. So be sure to support him and follow him everywhere he puts out content. Sam, I appreciate you. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in today, listening and watching the Locked On Ravens. And, of course, we'll be back here tomorrow talking more Ravens football as the Ravens gear up to face the Dolphins. So be sure to stay tuned. Hit the like and subscribe button in video form. Follow along in other form. And I'll see you right back here soon on Locked On Ravens.